the bornless ritual. Thee I invoke, the bornless one, thee that didst create the earth and the heavens, thee that didst create the night and the day, thee that didst create the darkness and the light. Thou art Asa Arnetha, whom no man hath seen at any time. Thou art Iarbeth. Thou art Iar, Apophras Ra. Thou hast distinguished between the just and the unjust. Thou didst make the female and the male. Thou didst produce the seeds and the fruit. Thou didst form men to love one another and to hate one another. I am Anchaf the Konsu, thy prophet, unto whom thou didst commit thy mysteries, the ceremonies of Hem. Thou didst produce the moist and the dry, and that which nourisheth all created life. Hear thou me, for I am the angel of Ptah, Apophras Ra. This is thy true name, handed down to the prophets of Hem. Hear me. Are, Theof, Rai, Bet, Atheli, Berset, Bela, Sam, Abeu, Abeu, Phi, Theta, So, A, Ebe, Theof. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. I invoke thee, the terrible and invisible God, who dwellest in the void place of the Spirit. Aro, go, go, abra, o, so, thou, mu, dori, o, fal, tha, o, the bornless one, hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of a rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. Ru, abra, Mario, Dom.
All right.
Babylon, Balbin, Abba.
Don't know if you're still there or not, John. But how the hell are you? Don't know if you can hear me. How's the audio now? Abracadabra. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hear me. What are you up to anyway? What are you up to? What does Friday morning, 6:20 a.m. find you doing out there in TV land? We are broadcasting live from the capital, the central capital of what? It's the kingdom. It's good. I can hear the invocation also. Okay, good. You can hear that, huh? Hear me. The central capital of, call it, I'll just say Magick. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just playing with the old live stream. Thought it might be fun to do first thing in the morning. I got a silly haircut yesterday. It's kind of bad. I'm having some black tea. I guess for you, Jonathan, it would be Thursday evening, right? Thursday evening. It's nice.
This is he whom the winds fear. This is he who, having made voice by his commandment, is Lord of all things, King, ruler, and helper. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire.
Wow, 420 caught you just in time.
Scourge of God
That's awesome.
may be obedient unto me.
Are you gonna 420 proper? Are you gonna get her done proper? Get her done proper. I don't know if you can hear me, if this video is any good, or if it does it correctly or not, but I felt really how do I express it? Remorse that I didn't come see you last time I was out there. I should have I was negligent in not coming to see you, because I've never really enjoyed a decent cigar, and I wouldn't know who to go to figure out where to start, and you're the only guy I know that understands cigars and probably good whiskey and cognacs. And so I should have I was negligent in not coming to see you and learning a little bit about it, because you know me, I'm a tobacco smoker. I like my tobacco. I'm down to about 2 or 3 cigarettes a day now. Oh, because my neurologist said I should quit entirely. He said that it's one of the main contributing factors in an aneurysm is abuse of tobacco. Aneurysm, did I spell that correctly? Yeah, it looks good. So he told me to give it up, but fuck. Tobacco is a tough one. So I'm not smoking though. I took a couple puffs this morning and then decided to switch over to just trying to drink tea. I've been doing some research though, and it turns out that aneurysms are pretty common, man. It says like 3+ million people a year suffer from them in the United States. So that's 1% of the population. And the most common type among men is like the one I had. Joe Biden's had like 4 or 5 of them or something. Yeah, so be careful. I'm sure you're a pretty moderate dude, though. You seem like you're very moderate when it comes to stuff like that.
O Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, ruler of the light and the
yeah, so I'm enjoying some Israel Regardie right now. He's probably one of my favorites. Not sure if you're still out there or not.
Of my soul,
I enjoy his
that I may be enabled to accomplish the great work.
Holy Guardian Angel meditation.
Glory of thine ineffable name. Amen.
I can't see my chat window clearly, and so it's always something, huh? You set up a live stream, and maybe one of the windows is a little bit off, or yeah, there we go. Holy Garudian Angel. See, I can't even see the type window that I type into. but I can see the output. So it's always something like that with computers. There's always some little quirk that doesn't let you get the entire thing. Randy's, you and Callie? Someone asked me about my donut picture. No, that was last year. That was 2019 when I was back in Cali. Yeah, so I was negligent. The problem was, if you're still there, John, the problem was, see now, how do I even get back to my, there we go, see if that'll work.
Watching over you with his light and love.
Yeah, I was only in Tennessee for a week. I had spent most of my time in California trying to establish myself in a career that would have worked. Waiting for live looks like it cut me. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it's still working. Who knows? Yeah, so I was only in Tennessee for a week, and I should have spent more time there. But everyone in California tried to talk me out of it. They're like, why go there? That's the sticks. Blah blah. There's nothing there. Blah blah blah. Hey Jeff, what's up, man? Yeah, Jeff's on here. I'm doing the. I'm still. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I didn't know.
You and your guardian angel are becoming one.
I'm doing the Holy Guardian Angel meditation with Israel Regardie. Don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a really good one. You can look it up on YouTube. I try to do it every day. It's, how long is it? I think it's 20 minutes long. 26.
Inhale.
No, it's more than that.
Yearn toward
28 minutes
your
long.
divine angel.
Yeah, so my 28 minutes long. My intention is
Exhale.
to get out to get back out there to the States. Good to see you, Jeff. Good to see you, man. I got this stupid haircut. I wish I had my hat with me, but I misplaced it. Yeah, so my intention, my hope is to get out to the States this year for a visit. Wow, it says I got 3 people watching. That's awesome. Get out there to the States for a visit to see all you guys. Hi, Jeff. You know, the flights go from Beijing to LA. It's pretty easy that way. So every time I go, I end up flying into LA and then just getting stuck there because the weather's so nice and there's so much to do. So I get in a car and I start driving around and going to see people, and I end up fucking getting stuck there for like 6 months, you know. What can you do? What can you do? And then I'm always negligent in getting back to Tennessee to see my mom. And then when I finally do, it's like, it's the end of my trip. I'm coming back to China. And so I'm not going to do that this time. I'd like to just go spend fucking 6 months or a year in Tennessee digging around in the dirt and growing melons and shit. But I got 2 young kids that are in school, and I've got a career as an educator. Imagine that. Jeff, if you're still on there, I don't know if you are or not, but imagine old fucking little Chris going into, I mean, I went to college. Fuck, I spent more time in college than anybody I know. I was there 10 years at university. I've been to what, 5, 6 different universities? Well, junior college, community college, adult school, vocational school for language training. I even spent, 3 years at the University of North Alabama. I was almost 3 years at the University, Tsinghua University here in Beijing, Beijing's top-rated university. I was in a graduates program studying Chinese literature. I mean, can you imagine the little fucking rambunctious running around the fucking whole town causing trouble everywhere ended up spending that much time at university? It's just yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I'd love to see you too, man. Remember, we used to fucking poke fun at you. This probably came from my brother Michael, but we like to go surfing in California. I wasn't ever any good at it, but Jeff, Matt, my brother, Joe, Christian, all you guys were big time surfers. And if Jeff was doing the backstroke, everyone would yell, "Shark! Get out of the water!" Yeah, because he's got a big schnoz. Jeff schnoz is legend. Fucking legend schnoz, man. Good times. I love you, Jeff. I hope you're doing well, brother. Yeah. So anyway, where did I get to? Oh, the fact that I've made a 20-year career out of teaching English in China, in Beijing. That's good fun, man. I can appreciate that I've been able to do that. So the Holy Guardian Angel meditation,
you are one.
It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I don't know if you guys are interested in it or not, but it's based on a 4-beat breath. Chris, that's where we called you the professor. You're brilliant. Thank you, Jeff. You're too kind. No, man, I'm the least brilliant. It's humbling to be among people who study at university, and the size of their fucking egg head is just unbelievable. So yeah, fourfold breath. It goes in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so slow it down a little bit from that, but
your holy guardian angel is the symbol of your higher self.
That's right. Your holy guardian angel is the symbol of your higher self. So you basically inhale on 4, hold 4, exhale on 4, and then hold 4 again. So it's called the fourfold breath. You might be familiar with it. It's this is Jewish mysticism is what it is, based on the Kabbalah and what is called the tetragrammaton. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. Tetragrammaton. See, this window doesn't even work. Tetragrammaton. So the tetragrammaton is the 4-letter name of God in Jewish mysticism. Now, you don't even have to be religious in order to practice these meditations. They're entirely non-secular, or at least that's how we learn them and teach them, through the Golden Dawn and the temple that I'm a member of, which is the Temple of Astarte, the OTA, the Ordo Templi Astarte. So I'll not get into all that, but anyway, so you don't have to be religious, but so the fourfold name of God is 4 letters in Hebrew, Yod, He, Vav, He, and it represents the 4 Kabbalistic or 4 Hermetic elements of fire, water, air, and earth. And you inhale, hold, exhale.
You are one.
So basically the way this meditation works is that you just imagine an angel standing above you, and it is a reflection of your own self. It's your solar body, and wings outstretched, golden red wings, vibrating at a high frequency. You imagine yourself in prime health, so a lot of visualization involved. You start to imagine this being, this holy guardian angel, standing above you, and wings outstretched, like the in any way you like. Me personally, mentally I see it as like an angel, like the archangel Michael, or any of the 4, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, or Uriel. I like to use Michael in the morning, and maybe Raphael. Anyway, so an angel filled with power, nice and strong, healthy, beautiful. Your primal life force, virile, filled with intelligent energy. And then you inhale up to that being and enforce that image. Hold it for a second. Vibrate the wings.
You are one.
And then exhale, and that being descends into you, and you become that being. So that's basically it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And you do that for 15 or 20 minutes. You start small, maybe start with 5 minutes in the morning. And that's supposed to, I don't do what? It's supposed to connect you with your solar consciousness in Tifereth. Tifereth is the central Dantian. It's, I said, well, I'm using a lot of terms people probably don't know.
You are gradually merging with
It's
the
not the
gigantic figure of the angel.
it's not the chakra system. It's the Chinese system of Dantians is three Dantian. Yeah, I spelled it right there. Three what we call elixir fields. So these are like the
This is your higher self.
psycho-spiritual centers of your chi, your energy, your life force. There are three. I'll tell you about them if you're interested. Unless you guys stop me if you want to know something else. Three elixir fields. The lower one is called the lower Dantian. Then there's the central Dantian, and then the upper Dantian. It's much easier than the chakra system. The chakra system has 7. The Western Hermetic system has Ata, Malkuth, Vigubra, Vigudla, Leola, Mamin. There's basically 3 as well, but they're a little bit off on where they're at, a little different. So you've got like Dath, right? Which is the vocal center. Then you have Tifereth, and then you have Yesod. But there are more. There's also Kether and Malkuth, which connect the 3. So I have a syncretized system of Occidental and Oriental that I've brought together, and it's based on Chinese internal alchemy with Jewish mysticism as the path working. So you use the energy from your Dantians, but then you work that energy through the Western mystery tradition. So it's my own unique system. Um, I'm not a purist, and in that I just utilize the Western Hermetic system because I came late to the Western Hermetic system, which is actually kind of backwards. Um, it's funny to say that I came late to it because and I mean all of ours in the Western society, our teaching comes from Christianity mostly. So it means that we're raised actually early in. Ooh, I said Christianity, and my live stream went down. That's funny. You gotta wonder. There's no coincidences. So when you say a keyword like Christianity, and then suddenly your live stream stops, it says I still got 1 viewer though. That's funny. Maybe is that you, Jonathan? Are you still there? Anyway, so what was I getting into? Oh, that we're raised through Christianity, so that's our foundational understanding through the love of Jesus and God and all of that. So we understand the triumvirate or the Trinity, and so we know about Yin and Yang and the Holy Spirit and being empowered through the death of the Son of God and stuff like that. So that's our foundation. But I didn't understand it on a spiritual level. How to explain that? Meaning that I was looking for the qigong in religion, the real energy, the real mystic spiritual energy, the God force, the magic. You know, what's his name? Jesus did all these miracles, and as a young man, you're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to do miracles. You know, I want to walk on water and heal the sick and all of that. And so there's no formula, and you're like, well, where is the formula? And then so you go looking for it. And for me, I went looking through the uh, Chinese system of Qigong and internal alchemy and Kung Fu, breathing exercises, pulling in Qi from the environment, pulling in Qi from the cosmos, connecting with achieved masters, which are called Xians. And then, like Jesus was a Xian. And then learning formulas to legitimately empower your life with that energy. And so then it led me full circle because I found it in varying degrees, and I achieved certain low levels of magic, low levels of magical expression in the world. You know, Not anything I want to specifically mention, but you know, certain magical reactions in the environment. And then I saw how hollow and unfulfilling it was, and it led me right back to faith in the Creator and the Almighty. And so it really humbles you when you have to go on the hero's journey, and it brings you back to your roots. It's very humbling. So yeah, things like Regardie's Holy Guardian Angel Meditation and Lesser Banishing of the Pentagram, and then one, my own special ritual that I developed that is um, going into my book. I'm writing a book. I've been that's funny to say because I've been working on my grimoire, my Arbatel of Magic, for 2 decades now, and so uh, it's the now that I'm getting to the age in my life where I'm getting a little more wisdom and a little more patience with writing, that I want to bring it together into a basic book on syncretism of Occidental and Oriental mysticism. I don't want to call it that though because that'll turn a lot of people off. So um, maybe I don't know. I still have to think about how I'll present it. But basic practices, yes sir, yes sir. A book on like basic Chinese qigong in the Christian tradition. Like I mean, I can't say that it's in the Christian tradition, but um, if you know something about the basic premises of hermetics, then it would be interesting to you. So it's a I haven't thought of a good title for the idea, but it's going to be a basic understanding of my system of how to use your internal alchemy, your qigong, the Oriental sciences, but using it in the expression of a hermetic path working. So that's the basic idea. Um, 21 chapters uh, that'll highlight everything I've learned and how to use it. Not everything, obviously, but just like the foundational stuff, just the basics. So basics. Yeah, yeah. So I've retained you, Jeff. Jeff, you got any questions, man? What's going on? Anybody got anything to talk about? What so my title here for my live stream is News and Views about magic and updates. Yeah, so what are the updates? Survival. Made it through another year, huh? White hats are in charge. Um, what do you guys think about that? I just listened to Dark Journalist's video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dark Journalist. If you're not, you should be. He's a lot of fun. DJ over at Dark Journalist. Absolutely, you should check him out. I just listened to his podcast on the aftermath of the election and the rise of emergency powers. His video, and it was good. They believe that the election was fraudulent and Joe Biden was put in by China. So everyone's calling him Beijing Biden. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. If anyone's out there, are you calling a quack? If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it must be a duck, right? Unless it's a, a communist, a Chi-Com in a duck suit. I don't know. What do you guys think? I tend to think that they're probably right about that. I cast my vote. I was excited about the election. There was a ton of enthusiasm for the big, what do you call him, Mr. T. and Mr. T was set to win it. I mean, there were tens of millions of people coming out and just raving for that guy. He's a fucking rock star. And then you got this little old man who's like me, you know. I mean, it's worse than me. I mean, he's had like 10 aneurysms, but I've had one. And uh, to connect mine, I know that like immediately when I figured out that that's what was going on in my head, I had a ton of cognitive decline. I mean, when it swelled up in my head or whatever, I couldn't concentrate for more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and it I endured that bad boy. I think it probably swelled and popped. I don't know, for like 2 months. I'm surprised. The doctor was surprised that I didn't die. He's like, "Yeah, man, you something wrong with you that you lived through that shit." So I'm happy to be here, man. Super duper happy. But that doddering old grifter with his son Hunter. Hunter comes here to Beijing. That blew my mind. I mean, I know the type. I've been out to the clubs here where they're, you know, partying with all the prostitutes and doing cocaine in the clubs and, you know, ordering $5,000 bottles of brandy and going back to the hotels and screwing all the hookers and smoking crack rock and shit. And so I know the type, and it it's demeaning and sad and shameful. And I've seen them, and they've even tried to have me killed and shit. And because they don't like people from the lower echelons seeing what they're doing. And so when you get into those types of clubs and those parties, they know right away that you're not an upper echelon dude. You don't have a diplomatic passport, and they don't want you fucking blowing the whistle on them. So, um, yeah, so he comes over here and he's strangling pregnant hookers and smoking crack rock and doing backdoor deals because his dad's VP of the USA corporation, and it's a farce. Those guys get up into those positions of power, and they just totally take advantage of the little man and their position. And uh, I believe that old Hayden for Biden, I believe that his family and his political career of 50 years has zero honor and zero integrity, and he's one of the swamp creatures, one of the worst, probably, swamp creatures. And it's just, yeah, it's just terrible. Just terrible.
Thee I invoke.
Whereas Whereas Mr. T, I don't think Mr. T's like that. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's an illusion, but I really bought into his whole charisma and persona. And I think that his family has more integrity than that. I don't think they're up to the same shenanigans as those other guys. But, the level of fraud that was involved in that is probably so egregious that there's not much you can do. I mean, I don't know. I could tell you stories about shit that I witnessed firsthand in 2019, the end of 2019, that told me that it was all coming down the line and that everything was set to change. And it was long before they made the announcement, because the announcement didn't come till 2020, January. So I was 2 months in advance, knowing that the shenanigans were going down, but nothing you can fucking do about it as a single individual, except for practice your own magic, right? Do your own personal refinement, and don't worry about what those asshats are up to. But at the same time, it seems like people of honor and virtue, need to struggle and get up there towards the top so that they can have a productive influence on on the system somehow, to make it better for the people down at the bottom. But it just seems like the ones who rise up are so evil and so intent on tyranny and domination that, see, good guys don't play by the same dirty tactics. they try to do everything through hard work and making productive connections and community and stuff, and that shit doesn't fly against a demonic hierarchy that are serving the devil, essentially. I mean, ideologically, but these guys they're Luciferian. You know, they worship demons and they think that that's the path to greatness, but it's not, man. It's a it's a ticket to hell, the highway to hell. So somehow have lost my connection. Why is it beeping like that? Don't know what's up. Maybe my little speaker is out of power. It says I've been live 35 minutes. Oh, I see what's happening here. I think my computer is trying to connect to my Bluetooth. Let's check it out. Check it out, y'all. See what's up with that. Turn Bluetooth off. Yeah. Don't be messing with me, y'all. I wonder how the Bluetooth just turns itself on. It's crazy. Let's get this back up and going again.
Thee that didst create the night and the day, thee that didst create the darkness and the light. Thou art Asa Arnefa, whom no man hath seen at any time. Thou art Earbeth. Thou art Ear, Apophras Ra. Thou hast distinguished between the just and the unjust. Thou didst make the female and the male. Thou didst produce the seeds and the fruit. Thou didst form men to love one another and to hate one another. I am Anchaf the Consu, thy prophet, unto whom thou didst commit thy mysteries, the ceremonies of Hem. Thou didst produce the moist and the dry, and that which nourisheth all created life. Hear thou me, for I am the angel of Ptah, Apophras Ra. This is thy true name, handed down to the prophets of Hem.
Nice. Did you? I don't know if you saw my. We had a little Chinese TV show where we did a house remodeling, home remodel, and I downloaded it and then I re-uploaded it on my channel, and I got hit with a copyright. They said that video was copyrighted, even though it was a Beijing TV show, and I figured, Beijing TV show, yeah. So I figured that it would go through because, I mean, it was my family. It was me, my wife, my mother-in-law, my two children, and it was our home remodeled. So I figured if anybody has rights to show that it would be me. But they took it down. They said it was copyright, and I'm like, what do you mean? It's me. It's my channel. It's my show. I worked on it. I did the acting like an asshat and had my apartment remodeled, and I paid for my apartment to be remodeled, and I did just as much camera work as the cameraman, and I did far more organizing, and the only thing they did was send out a hostess to interview us. I mean, we did 50%, 51% of the work on our own, more probably. Plus, like I said, we were the focus, so it really kind of pissed me off that they took it down. But whatever, it was up for a couple of days, and I figure that I'll chop it up and I'll do commentary on it. That way I can re-upload it and not violate a copyright, because then I'm doing commentary on it. And if you do commentary on as far as I know, if you do commentary on a video, then it falls within the domain of fair use, which my channel isn't even monetized anyway. You got to get. It used to be 1,000. If you got 1,000 subs, you could monetize and start to earn a little money from your YouTube channel. But now you have to have 10,000. So you got to have 10,000 subs in order to get monetized. What a crazy fucking number, I guess. But they, it's so hard to do that anymore these days because everyone is getting shadow banned, which means they don't even really let your content circulate. Like I've got a video on there that I did recently. What was it called? It's not a very good one. It's just like a 5-minute rant or something. But um, it had 3 views the first day because, you know, maybe 3 people from Facebook checked it out. But then the second day, it shot up to like 10 or something. So there were 10 views. And I knew it was accurate because I had like gone out and told people to view it. And now it's down to 4 views. It's like, how do you go from 10 to 4? And so they do that all the time. Like I've got one video on there that I know has over 10,000 views, but it's stuck at 3,500, and they'll never, even if it gets, even if the video got 10 million views, they'll never tell me that it got more than 3,500 because that's just where it is and that's just where it's going to stay. And so it's a joke. It's like everything, you know, it's like the stock market with the GameStop um, fiasco that recently happened, and people got to see firsthand that these hedge funders, they can do it. It's rules for thee and not for me. Like they can do it. They can manipulate markets and cheat the system so that they make a ton of money for Warren Buffett and, you know, the Gates family, the Rothschilds, whoever else is up there at the top, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, all of those fucknuts. They can do it for them, but then if people on Reddit try to organize and do the same exact thing, even legally, I mean, just talking about it, let's all buy a stock. How is there anything wrong with that? Then they get shut down. They'll pull in Congress, they'll pull in the Senate, they'll pull in the lawmakers and say, oh my God, these guys figured out, they figured out a trick that we've been using for, you know, since 1913 when we took the U.S. off the gold standard and started the Federal Reserve to print money hand over fist and have a Ponzi scheme of fiat currency. But now you've got you know, a million folks, ordinary folks, maybe poor people, probably Chinese hackers in all reality, um, manipulating the system. And they're like, oh fuck, they figured out a loop. Let's shut them down. We're the only ones allowed to do that. So it's a joke. I mean, YouTube's a joke. Funny or Die was a joke. I remember uh, when they had a website for uploading your comedy videos. I would do stand-up comedy, and I'd upload that, and you know, get 1,000 views or whatever, and people say, you know, it's funny, it's not funny, but you could either thumbs up or thumbs down, and if you got a bunch of thumbs up, your video would rise, and if you got thumbs down, it was die, so funny or die, and if you died, then your video died, and so I actually did well on that. I uploaded maybe 50 of my stand-up sets, and that's what built the website. It was a Will Ferrell. And so user created content built the website and bolstered it. People are interested. If you can upload a video and watch it and watch other people who are uploading videos, then you think it's funny and interesting because you're interactive. You can participate and interact. People can see you. You can see other people. You can comment on their videos. So it's fun. And so they shut that shit down. They kicked off all user created content, I believe, in 2015. Seems like. So right after that, I knew that, or I was suspicious that YouTube, Facebook, even BitChute eventually, that they would build their system, and then once they pull in corporate bigwigs to pay the bills and stuff, and they're making money, then it's more about control than anything else. So it's not really about the money per se; it's about controlling the message. And so YouTube, I was suspicious that they would ultimately, and I figured they would do it at the end of 2019. That was I felt it coming down the line. I knew that 2019, I knew at the end of 2019 that shit was about to hit the fan. In fact, I made a post on, I made a post on the last day of 2019 because I felt how evil it was going to be. And I used Conan, a picture of Conan, and I had 2019 saying, you know, give some money to ward off evil to 2020, and 2020 was responding, I am evil. I don't know if you remember that. That's a reference to Conan the Barbarian, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was walking through civilization and he was all loaded on Stygian. A a whore, a prostitute, a hooker, says to him, pittance to ward off evil. And so she's asking for money, basically. And then he responds, I am evil. And then then I think he pushes her, or he slaps her or something. And he says, "You're a whore." Oh God, Conan the Barbarian was one of the greatest all time cult classic movies. And so that's how I felt. I felt like 2019 was asking 2020 to give a pittance to ward off evil, and 2020 was like, "You ain't seen shit yet." It's gonna fucking be dynamite. So 2020, yeah, I knew it was gonna be a motherfucker, and it killed a lot of people. Governments took over with their totalitarian regimes. They made everybody start, putting on a muzzle. Censorship went through the fucking roof. And yeah, it was a great film, huh? Really, really good. So that's how it all went, man. In 2021, the fucking I mean, we saw it coming down the line. Alex Jones warned us, even though he's an inside shill, but he knows that people are going to find out. So he let everybody know. And they that's a part of their magic, I think. They call it their magic, is that they like to let people know that they're starting the Great Reset. And the Great Reset. How do I spell? I can't see my window to type. The Great Reset and the Great Culling. It's not gonna work anyway. Who cares? Yeah. So what does that say? Chaos Magic Sigils. Somebody wrote something. Chaos Magic Sigils. The Great Reset. That's not what I wrote. That's interesting that it says that. Huh. Yeah. So they like to send that out there, and the Great Culling, that as a part of Agenda 21, that they had a firm intention of culling the populace. So like I said, it was back in October 2019. I had got word that the militaries were doing operations down in Wuhan, and that they were planning a what do they call that? An exercise. Event 201 was an exercise funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where they were planning an exercise to run a psyop of a bat virus, a corona bat virus, that had infected the population, and they needed to do a martial law lockdown globally. And so that was 4 months before the rest of the world heard about it. And I got on their webpage and I saw it and I read about it, and I did a bunch of screenshots of it. And then when people started finding out, they took all that off their website. And they still talk that they had it, but the exact details, like down to everything, 18-month lockdown, everybody should wear masks, there's going to be forced vaccinations, all that bullshit, was like all of their talking points were word for word within like just a few paragraphs. And so it's strange that people can't put that together and say, oh, it's a coincidence that during the Boston bombing, the deep state was running exercises about a bombing at the marathon, and then there's a bombing and people get killed. It's like, well, can you even believe anymore? Like the Las Vegas massacre, that at the exact same time, deep state players, CIA, are running exercises about a mass shooting, and then there's a mass shooting. It's like, all of it is such a fucking joke. 9/11, people still think that there were fucking 19 hijackers that hijacked a plane and flew them into a building. I mean, just the audacity that would even be able to happen in the United States with the United States military preparedness. Um, and at the same time, they're running Operation Northwoods, which is a CIA deep state military exercise about hijackers hijacking planes and flying them into buildings. And it's like, when are people going to learn that every time one of these so-called false flags occurs, at the same time, there are deep state elements running so-called exercises about the exact same thing? Oh yeah, that's just a coincidence. Anyway, um, it's also obvious, but at the same time, it's like all of that is so obvious and so in your face, but then like you're helpless to do anything about it. And It's a distraction from like, your real life, like getting up and going to your 9 to 5. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you think? What can you do when your world's invaded by a reggae junkie Jew? Just live. Yeah. So what can you do? That's a good question. You can buy my book when I publish it. That would be helpful. You can sub my channel if you haven't already. Head over to YouTube and sub Frank Monday, and head over to BitChute and sub me too, man. I'd like to see I'd like to see the world open back up again, and people get back to business as usual in a different way. Obviously, it's going to be different, but it'd be nice to be able to fly with a little more. And I don't fly much anyway, but I'd like to come home and see everyone. You know, fly through California, visit some folks there. Come see you, Jeff, for sure. I visited the old neighborhood, man. I drove right by your fucking house. I drove down Obispo, and what is that street? I don't know if you still live there or not, but I drove on what is that? I drove up Obispo to Deerford. Is that the street that I lived on? And but you lived on the one by the park. I don't remember the name of the street by the park that you lived on, but I drove by that park. What is the name of that park? Jesus, I can't remember now. I could remember when I was there, and I drove all around our little neighborhood, and I looked at my old house, and I drove by your house, and I looked at everybody's house, but I didn't stop at anyone's house really. Who did I visit? I visited my uncle. I stayed with my sister down in Mission Viejo, but I was all up around the LA. I was driving Uber for 6 months. Level side, that's what it was. Yeah. Um, yeah, that park across from your house, Boulevard, Simon Bolivar. Yeah, I drove by that park. It looks kind of the same, kind of different. I don't know if you still live there or not, but if you do, then I drove right by your house. I looked at it. I looked in the windows. I didn't stop and get out though. I didn't stop and get out and walk around because I didn't know if anybody was around. I guess I should have. I should have just got out and fucking knocked on your door. That would have been funny. Be like, "What's up, yo?" You probably wouldn't even recognize me. You'd be like, "Who the fuck are you, man?" You'd come out with a loaded shotgun. Get off my porch. Yeah. I drove by Joe's house. I always thought Joe's dad was. Oh, you don't live there, okay? Yeah. I always thought Joe's dad was Jewish. He looks just like Israel Regardie, man. I don't know if you've ever seen any pictures of Israel Regardie, but I had these illusions that Joe and his family, I misspelled that, were Jewish. But Michael told me you're in the LBC now. Nice, nice. Yeah, I was all over there, man. I was staying over by El Dorado Park with an uncle. Actually, my stepsister's ex-husband, and so I stayed there only for like a month. But I stayed in Mission Viejo for like 6 months. Mission Viejo is nice. LBC, it's nice, man, but it can be fucking dangerous. There's some hoodies up in there out at night, running around doing crazy shit. I used to drive the main strip there, the boulevard in the downtown area. Balboa's nicer. Balboa seems more upbeat, a little more money, less weirdos hanging around. But the LBC, man, is fucking whack. It's all right. I mean, you got to have something to do. You got to have a purpose no matter where you're at. Um, Doing the Uber Lyft ticket though, driving those fucking rent a cars, it's a self defeating thing. It's not something you can do for a career. It's not something you can even do for a job. I couldn't even hardly make ends meet, man. I would be lucky if I could buy myself a 99-cent burrito each week, spending 80 hours in the car. And I was good at it too. I enjoyed it. I keep the car spiffy fucking clean, keep myself clean, give people a nice ride, be friendly, and even if only 1 out of 10 people would give you a dollar tip, no matter how you could bend over backwards. You get an occasional $10 tip once a week or something. Nice, nice. Yeah, that happens, man. It's fucking gnarls. I was in Anaheim one night, and I pulled off in my Uber rent a car to take a fucking smoke break because I'd take a smoke break, and I was real careful about it. I'd get out of the car. I never get out of the car, smoke away from the car, lock up the car, and then freshen myself up before I got back in the car so I didn't smell like a cigarette. Like walk around, air it out a little bit, throw in a mint, spray on a little perfume. And so I'd smoke 3 cigarettes on a 12-hour shift, And so I was really, really, I'll do that, Jeff. I was really, really conscientious about it. And I was in Anaheim over by Disneyland and pulled off into a parking lot like I always do, and a well lit parking lot, and jumped out of the car to have a smoke break, and fucking like 12 dudes just came out of the shadows and it started coming straight at me. I mean, I don't want to be racist or nothing, but they all looked like they were fucking MS-13, man. They were tattooed up. They were like Honduran or something. Those dudes were fucking gnarls, and they were saying, "Orale vato, what's up, amigo? What's up?" And they were all coming right at me, man. They were mobbing on me, and they were gonna murder me and take the car or whatever. I don't know, man, what they were gonna do, but they were like reaching for guns or knives or whatever, and they were just like fucking gnarls, man. And I was able to ditch the cigarette and get in the car and shut the fucking doors and lock the doors and start the car and start driving before they got to me. But the timing on that was like within a few seconds of dying, man. And I had to make a split second decision. I looked around and I'm like, I saw like 4 or 5 of them, and I thought, oh, I could fight a few of these dudes. And then because I've been practicing kung fu my whole life, and it's like, what do I fucking practice it for if I don't occasionally get into a scrap and defend myself? And then I saw there wasn't 4 or 5, there was like 10 or 12 of them or something, and I thought, holy fuck, man, these guys are gonna murder me. And I said, even if I could fight 4 or 5 of them, what if they pull a knife and stab me or something? And so it turned from me being like a little bit arrogant, like thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some fucking Bruce Lee shit right now, to just holy fuck, I got to get the fuck out of here quick. And if they would have pulled guns or something, I would have used the car to yeah, it happens, man. L.A. In fact, my time driving Uber Lyft while I was in LA, 6 months, I almost got killed probably 4 times, 4 or 5. I want to say 3 solid, like that was one of them, and then possibly get knifed or shot. I would say up to 4 or 5 times. One time, here's one that's fun. Stories from a taxi cab driver, huh? Like, I mean, I would imagine the amount of stories your fucking pops could tell, Jeff. Just crazy, crazy. But I'll tell one more because I'm almost pushing an hour and I need to start doing other shit before my day begins. Um, I I got a call to go into Compton to pick up a fare, and it's just so funny. I mean, it's so stereotypical that Compton would be as dangerous as you think it is. And yes, straight out of Compton is pretty fucking dangerous. So I got a call to go to Compton, and I thought, oh, do I cancel it? But then I thought about my rating, and your rating goes down every time you cancel a ride. And so I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to drive out there and take it. It was like a 15-minute drive from where I was. I was somewhere probably in Long Beach or Lakewood or something. Yeah. I do. I have some idea. I would like for you to tell me. You should do a fucking podcast, Jeff, and just tell real stories of a police officer, right? Or your own stories. Anyway, so I drive into Compton and I pick up this dude, and he's tattooed up, and he looks like he's just straight out of fucking prison, but he's like a hairstylist dude, and he's got like a ton of fucking gear on the side of the curb, like he just got thrown out of his apartment or something, and he's like half whacked out of his mind on something. He's probably been smoking flakka that morning or crack for breakfast. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like totally nice to the dude. I'm like, hey, what's up? Where you headed? Blah, blah, blah. And I check the app, and I got like a 45-minute drive with this guy into like, I don't know, Wilmington or Hawaiian Gardens or something. And I'm like, yep, this is it. This is my death ride. I'm thinking it in my mind. And I'm like, no big deal though, right? Just go with it. Go with the flow. If the world's going to, if it's going to take you out, then at least you die with virtue and honor. And so I helped the dude get the gear in the back of the seat of the car. And he's like, looking at me like, what the fuck? And he actually asked me like several times different shit, like, what the fuck is a white boy like you doing driving, you know, Uber Lyft? And what are you doing coming into this neighborhood? He's like, you out of your fucking mind? You know, what's the matter with you? And I'm like laughing, you know, I'm like, nah, big deal, bro. What's up? You know, I got to drive, make some money, pay for the gas. And he's like, you crazy motherfucker. And he pulls out a straight razor in the car. He's sitting right next to me, and I'm driving on the highway doing, you know, 65 miles an hour on the freeway. And he's got a straight razor. He's like, you ever seen one of these before? And I was like, what the fuck? You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, here it comes. This dude's about to fucking slit my throat or something. And I'm like, yeah. So I swerve a little bit, just a little bit, to let him know that, you know, if he fucks with me, we're both going to end up dead, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I've seen one of those before. He's like, this is sharp motherfucker. He's like, motherfucker, cut you with that. And he's like making like, you know, like he's gonna cut me with it. And he's like playing around with it and shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And so the whole time I'm like, I'm trying to drive in, you know, 65, 70 mile an hour traffic on the freeway, while I got a dude, an ex-con sitting here with a straight razor on my right, and I'm trying to, how do you say it? I'm trying to oscillate between, if this guy actually swipes at me, you know, taking him out and getting the knife out of his hand, and knocking his fucking head out, and then throwing him out of the car while I'm driving. And I thought, yeah, I can handle this. I can handle this. And so it was fun times. It was fun times. It didn't scare me. I wasn't scared. I mean, you know, obviously you're a little bit scared, but it it uh, it was fun. It was fun. So yeah, that was one, two. That's two near death encounters. That motherfucker. And then I finally got him to his destination. It was some ghetto ass hood, and I thought, fuck. When I got him there, I thought, yeah, he's probably gonna murder me here, or you know, I don't. You never know what's gonna happen. So I was like totally cool with him and stuff, and I was sweating. I mean, I lost some adrenaline on that ride. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tip you on the app. Famous last words, man. Nobody, 99.9% of the people that said, I'll tip you on the app, never did. So funny. Such a stereotype. Tip you on the app. Famous last words. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here, Jeff. I'm glad you joined me, man. I'm surprised that you paid attention to me for the amount of time you did. That's very nice of you, bro. Two near death stories from Los Angeles. Magic 101. I'll get cracking on that book, man. I'll send you a manuscript to your email and let you see what I got so far. I'd like to get it to print. I'll self-publish it probably on Amazon. That way I can just do it and have a bound copy. Obviously, I'm going to need to do typesetting and all of that. But for the content part, I'm mostly there. I'll probably be able to finish it this year, provided I last that long, and hopefully I do. Yeah, that's a funny story, huh? Yeah, I didn't want to mention the fact that he was black, because then I'd just be racist, right? But he was, and that's the only thing. Yeah, it's funny. And I didn't want to mention that the other guys were MS-13, but they were, and they were saying amigo, and you know what up, amigo? I'm gonna cut you bad, amigo. It's like, what the fuck, man? So funny. Yeah, I love you, brother. I will. Okay, so I got to sign off for now. You know, it says end feed, but we know that it never ends, right? As above, so below, into the abodes of a new and beautiful day. I will see you all again next time. Love you, brother, and 再见.